First thing you need is a tow hitch installed on your vehicle. If you don't have one, it is an easy enough DIY project. I have a video showing how I did mine. Put it on both of my Crown Vics. A lot of your trucks and SUVs are probably already going to have this built in. They come with different ratings. You want to try to find out what yours is rated for. However, I think they're all going to be adequate for Crown Vic towing, because you're not going to be towing a motorhome type trailer or something with this. You're going to be hauling smaller loads. Next thing you need is a receiver that slides in there. Now you see I've already got the pin on this one locked on. This is the one that I use for the Vic. And you see why I have this one on the Vic, because it allows to raise up quite a bit. And the reason you have that is because your trailer needs to sit fairly level, and so you want something that's going to be approximately level. If I put this on the Vic, you see it would be down there and the trailer would be sloped. If I flipped it upside down, it would probably be close. So I would say, this is a 3¼ inch drop. So upside down, I think they rate it differently. I think it says it's a 2-inch rise. So I would say that's probably pretty close if you were just buying one for your Vic. But I do like this Harbor Freight one because it's adjustable. So if your Vic is riding lower or higher, obviously you can set it where it needs to be. The other thing is the ball size. This is a 1 7/8. This is a 2. All your trailers are going to have a different size on them, so you want to find out which one you need. I keep both sizes, obviously, because I have 2 trailers that have different sizes. For your wiring, most of them are going to be your standard 4-wire. General Motors, for whatever reason, has this weird 7-wire, so you have to buy an adapter like this to plug in. As you can see on the Vic, I just have the 4-wire hanging down there, and that will plug directly into the trailer. When you put your receiver in, obviously you want to put that locking pin through and make sure it's attached. The locking pin keeps it from sliding back out, so it will lock into place. And that's the pin I'm talking about. Like I said, for this one, you'd turn the key, it would unlock, and then I just slide this side through and then put the lock on there and press it down and it would lock. They also sell them that don't lock. It's up to you what you want to do. I like the lock. Probably slows down a thief a little bit. So you want to bring your trailer in and then lower it down. And then this one, you turn the handle to lower it, counterclockwise to lower, clockwise to raise. And once it's supported there, then you can lock it. And you always want to test your lock by pulling up on it and see if it lifts that, or if it just comes off. If it comes off, then you don't have it locked on right. So you want to make sure that you get that locked. To unlock it, just flip it up. There's a release pin there. So we're locked. All of your trailers are going to be different, but you've got to make sure you get the wheel up and out of the way, where it will crash into the ground. So this one has a lock pin like this, and then you just crank it counterclockwise until it rises up enough that the wheel will fall off. And then I suggest you raise this piece all the way up so that when you're towing it has less likely to hit the ground. Then you have towing chains that probably all states require to lock on. You're going to have one on each side, but that's how it locks on. And then last but not least, make sure you connect your trailer wiring so that all your brake lights, turn signals, marker lights come on. This is my smaller trailer, and so this one cranks here to raise or lower rather than across the top. And then this one, the whole assembly rotates up. So you pull this here and it releases from there and allows you to rotate this. When you're done, everything is the reverse of removal. Also, I do recommend putting some grease in there periodically so that it can swivel. Because what happens is, if you're not greasing that, instead of swiveling, it'll get jammed up, and then you're trying to push against the wheel instead of with the wheel. So again, we'll just line this up, put the pin through. And then that just clips on. Undo our chains and our electrical. Unlock from there. And then when we crank, this will rise up and disconnect from the vehicle. And then you're free to roll your trailer wherever you need to go. I also recommend removing this when you're not towing, because that right there is probably the #1 injury in the country. You hit that with your shin. I recommend you periodically lubricate all your hinges. For things like this, obviously you need to check the functionality of all your lights. You can lubricate these locks in the back, and the locks work just by pulling, and then you can twist them, and there's a little spot that'll hold them open. That allows you to drop down the loading ramp. There's also lubrication points on each of those. You can actually hook a grease gun fitting right on there and pump it full of grease. When you're done loading, you want to make sure that you bring the gate back up, locked, ready to go. When towing, you need to be aware of and secure your load, because there is a high probability of it falling out. See a trailer like this, there's nothing in front. So if I just stacked boards in here, let's say, I haul lumber once in a while, as soon as you hit the brakes, it can go shooting out the front. Probably braking and turning are your 2 times where you're most likely to lose something that you're hauling. So these ratcheting tie straps are what you need if you're hauling something like a lawnmower or a golf cart or something like that. They can be used with the lumber, but they obviously are not going to hold down the individual boards very well. But basically you have 2 pieces. You have the ratcheting part, and then you have a long strap. And so we'll start by connecting this on the other side. So typically what I try to do is give it a little extra security by wrapping it around multiple times and then hooking it to there. And then you want to pull it tight so that it stays up there. And then you'd run this side over, like, let's say, the base of the lawnmower or the golf cart or whatever it is that you're trying to secure. And there's obviously different spots along the side that you can pick what's best for whatever you're hauling. We'll pretend that the golf cart is in here and that this is going across the floorboard of it. And then what I would do is take the ratcheting strap side, get around, and you need to get the opening here so it's straight across, so you may have to ratchet it till it's straight. take your strap, slide it through there, and you want to pull it tight with your hand like that. And then if you start ratcheting, it will tighten up far beyond what you could ever do with your hand. And so you'd want to get that as tight as you could so it's holding whatever object and it doesn't move. And you can put multiple straps down. I like these heavy duty ones. I don't really recommend using the light duty ones unless you've got something really small. And then to release this, you've got a release here that allows you to open it up here, and then you've got a release on the inside which allows the inside. And sometimes you need to hold both. Sometimes this will snap down on your hand if you're not holding this side as well, but that allows the inner piece to rotate, and then you can undo whenever you get to where you're going. I also think whatever, you're gonna have a bunch of this hanging off the end, tie it down to something, at least tie a knot like that, or a double knot, something to secure that so that's not just flopping in the wind. That gets on the road and it'll start fraying and then tear up. When I'm done, I like to put these together and wind them up. That way I can find them real easy, and I have both pieces. Otherwise, if I'm digging around looking for half, and maybe I find two of the same half or whatever. So anyway, that's how I store them. So some of the questions were, is it safe to tow? Meaning, like, is it tearing up your transmission or whatever? Well, I don't have the equipment to test out to see what sort of wear and tear it's putting on your transmission. I'll say this, the Vic has got the same engine, transmission, and frame as the F-150. So whatever damage it would do to an F-150 to tow, probably the same as here. That being said, I wouldn't abuse the heck out of this. Use your best judgment when you're towing. If it's in 4th gear, climbing a hill, you probably don't want it there. You probably want to be in 3rd gear. I'm not saying turn your overdrive off every time you tow, but use common sense with it so that it's not pulling in 4th gear and slipping against the torque converter, that sort of thing. But it's anyone's guess as to what it's doing if you're towing with it. And like I said, I haven't had any problems with it. I don't tow a whole lot, typically about 1,000 to 1,500 pounds when I tow, so I don't have issues there. I'm sure some of you out there have towed more and can probably chime in. And yes, it's freezing today. It's probably one of the coldest days we've had all year. We were supposed to have snow. It didn't arrive, but it's close to freezing temperature right now. Also, common sense, you want to accelerate slowly, make your corners a little slower, and give yourself a lot more room to brake because you're hauling a load. The car's not going to brake as quick as it does when it's not towing. And just like with your car, you want to check your tire tread and air pressure in the tires, make sure that they're inflated properly. And if you can, it's kind of nice to have a spare tire for your trailer just in case. Backing a trailer is not a skill that I have. It's probably something that can be learned. I've tried, and right there I have a gouge on my truck from backing. And what happens is, instead of the trailer backing up, it turns harshly. I've heard it called jackknifing, and I'm talking backing at like 1 mile an hour. I'm not talking trying to back at full speed, but literally it just rotates in and the side of the trailer ends up hitting instead of you being able to back the trailer. So obviously there are people that can back trailers, because you see people do it all the time. Heck, I've seen people with big rigs back into tight alleys and not even have to, start again or whatever. They just pull up, start backing the trailer, and they're done. But that's not me. So if you have backing skills, please share with us the tricks.